back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shanna Register, and every week we bring you news and information you can use, and this week it's on your insurance policies. We're talking with Jay Olson. You have heard from him before. He's been in the studio talking with us before. He's the owner of Jay Olson Insurance Agency with Goosehead Insurance. So we're going to be talking with him today, but before we do, I want to remind you that we video record all of our segments. So if you jump in the middle of it, make sure you give us or go to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and watch those videos because it's all online. Great information. Or if you're jumping out of the car now and you think, oh, I don't want to miss it. Okay, you can do that. All right, we're also on Facebook. You can give us a like over at Houston Real Estate Radio on Facebook, and we put a lot of information out over there as well. Jay Olson, the owner of Jay Olson Insurance, he's with Goosehead Insurance, and he's got a lot of products available. He works with a lot of different companies, has a lot of different products available for homeowners insurance, car insurance, life insurance, whatever your insurance needs are. And Jay, I appreciate you being here because I know that there's a lot of things, it's hard buying insurance. If you don't know about insurance, it's hard to purchase it. It's hard to know what you need. And a lot of times I feel like we overbuy insurance. And so I love that you can really, look behind the curtain, really see what policy there is that we have, what we need, whether we have what we need, whether we need to cut back on some of those bells and whistles and, just pay for just what we need. So I like that about you. I think that's great. Let's talk about some of the secrets from behind the insurance company curtain today. What are the really important pieces of insurance versus just those bells and whistles that you get? So let's start real quick. Tell us about your company, where you guys are, who y'all service.
Okay. Well, first of all, I've been in the industry for 17 years. I was an actuary, which nobody's ever heard of. I did that for the first 13. I was in corporate insurance, and we built the products and we set the rates, and we were the math nerds that sat off in the corner in the cubicles. Went days without talking to anybody. It was as exciting as it sounds.
And you're so outgoing. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know how I did it either. It's now that I have it, I'm just amazed. I don't know how I did it. And about the last 4 or so, I've been an agent, and I can really affect change up close. But it helps that I know what is going on, because insurance in a lot of ways, even for agents, is a black box. They don't want the agents to know all the ingredients because they'll play with it. And so a lot of folks, they just see a rate and they're like, whatever. But I have a pretty good idea what's going on behind there. And I know where, like you said, where a lot of the bargains are and where some of the things are less, it's a bell and whistle. It's not bad, but if you don't need it, you don't really need it. But,
so you service all of Texas, right?
Yep. We are everywhere in Texas, and especially we do everywhere in the Houston area. Of course, there are a lot of the carriers with home insurance, as we know. Our rates are crazy right now. Especially as you get closer to the coast, it gets more and more difficult. But we have products for everywhere in the city. And so
you do flood insurance, everything, right?
We do flood, we do wind, we do everything. And it's really helpful to be able to work in. We have over 30 carriers and the insurers that we work with. And depending on the part of city and the age of the house and everything, different carriers will have interest in that. So we really can come together with a good product in Katy versus Sugarland versus Pearland versus Cypress, wherever. We have a lot of different options.
So let's talk about some of the misunderstandings in the industry.
Well, everybody knows, like on your auto insurance, if you have tickets or you have accidents, your rates are going to go up. Right. And people think of it as kind of a cause and effect thing. But really what the actuaries are doing, the nerds that are creating the rates, what they're doing is they're trying to predict, are you going to have accidents in the future? So they're looking a lot of things. Obviously, they're looking at those things, but they're also looking at things that we call responsibility factors. And those are basically how well do you take care of your stuff is really what they're asking. Because if you take care of your stuff, you're not going to have as many accidents. You're not going to have as many things go wrong with your house because you're going to do the maintenance required and everything. Some of those, and so they're looking for proxies for that. Credit, what are your liability limits? What's your sometimes education, job type? Do you own a home? Are you married? These things all indicate responsibility. And if you're responsible with all those things, you'll probably be a better risk on average. And people think, well, just because I own a home doesn't mean I won't have this happen. It's like, no, but it's
an indicator.
There's an indicator. It's a high correlation, but it doesn't cause it, no.
So where are some of the bargains that people can find or that you can help people find? That you can find for them?
Something we have people ask us about deductibles all the time, and those are important. I don't mean to downplay that, but typically we're talking hundreds of dollars of difference, $500 deductible, $1,000 deductible. But really, it's in the liability, which is luckily very inexpensive coverage. But that's the serious stuff. And we really want to harp on folks that, if you hit and injure somebody on the road, the average loss in that situation is $400,000. And your typical state required policy will get you up to 60.
Wow.
So this is a serious financial concern. But luckily, and I used to again, I build these things specifically. It's an interesting phenomenon that the people that have the higher limits have so many fewer claims that even though their claims might be bigger when they happen because the insurance is on the hook for more, even though they have so many fewer claims, you could actually argue mathematically and actuarially that it should be cheaper to have high limits. So obviously they can't do that because everybody would just do it. But it does mean that they're extremely inexpensive. And not only that, but it looks good to the insurers. They see somebody who has high limits and they say, this is a responsible person, and they lower the rate even further. So it is a huge bargain, and it's really what's important about insurance, and it's really why we have it. And but people tend to focus more on the deductibles, which is really the small stuff.
Does your renewal date matter at all?
No.
So if I want to change insurance today, I can. It doesn't matter when it's renewing.
We have people a lot of times, well, my renewal isn't till, or I just renewed, and this is the law. The insurers are required to give you back approximately prorated amount of whatever you spent. Okay. So if you're 1 month in and you paid for it all, they have to give you about 11/12 of it back. So no, it really doesn't matter if you just renewed.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, it's interesting. Some people pay by the month, and some people pay by the year, and some people pay by the quarter. And depending on how you pay, they're going to fee you for different ways of paying it. Does it matter? So it really doesn't matter how you pay it. If you overpay, you get it back. If you underpay, you just pay by the month.
Yeah. Yeah, it exactly. So I mean, it's a little more convenient, but it's not a big factor. But I think the insurance companies have created that misconception because they don't want people moving. So. But no, it's really not much of a factor.
All right. What can I do to lower my rates?
Okay, well.
I called Jay Olson. That's the first thing I did.
There you go. That's it. End of segment. Well, for your home, the obvious one is the new roofs. The insurers are really worried about the roofs around here. And you can see from the storm in May, a lot of people are getting new roofs from that. So having a new one.
A lot of people out there, I'm just going to say, a lot of people out there are getting new roofs and they don't need new roofs. And then there's some people out there who need a new roof, who had roof damage, and their insurance is fighting them on it. So I'm just going to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of that one. First of all, on claims, I have no stake in the game. I really don't care. We advise people and tell them what their options are. But personally, I had somebody apologize to me the other day for making a claim. I was like, no, if you need to make a claim, of course. But yeah, an interesting thing though is with all these new roofs, a lot of these people are eligible for new roof discounts, not with their current company, but that's actually not a bad time to shop because you got a new roof.
Yeah.
So that's an obvious one. Everybody knows you get a new roof. The first couple of years, there's pretty good discounts involved with that. As I mentioned before, increasing your limits. This is especially true on your auto insurance. If somebody comes to me and they have higher limits, that's one of the questions my carriers are all going to ask. What's their current limits? If they're at minimum limits, they're going to be in a certain tier. If they're at higher limits, they're going to be in a better tier, and they're going to get a better rate. So simply by having better limits, they'll get better rates.
Okay. And limits, when you say limits, you mean increase the limits to get a better rate?
Yeah. Your bodily injury, your liability limits, yes.
And so you would think go as low as you can so you get the cheapest amount, but you're saying increasing it could save you money.
Not only is it a good idea because it's the right coverage to have, but it will save you money when you go look somewhere else. And so again, with us, when someone's renewing, we're shopping them with other carriers.
Right.
So we're still that's carrying over and helping them, even if they change within our agency. So whether they're coming to us or moving within our agency, it's better to have that.
And how much does credit play a part in the insurance policy you get and what you pay for it?
It's big. It's a big factor. Almost every company out there for auto and home insurance is looking at that. Not all of them, but
now are they running your credit, which is decreasing your credit score, or this is just kind of a separate way they're looking at it?
They call it a soft pull. Okay. So no, it doesn't affect your credit score. But an interesting thing is most companies, once you've set in, they won't change they won't look at the credit again.
Okay.
So if you've improved your credit over the last few years, it might be a good time to look because you're eligible for better rates.
All right, and why use an independent? I know you're an independent with Goosehead, and owning your own individual company. So, what's better about using an independent than maybe say a franchise?
For one, the obvious, we shop. We're able to look at over 30 companies, and we can compare. They're all good companies. I honestly don't care which one people go with, so I'm only looking at the best coverage and the best price. So that's one factor. But also, once they're with us, if their rate goes up, we'll just look at another one of our companies, and it's really not a big deal. So we can mitigate any rate increase, and there's really not a whole lot they have to do. So it's convenient. The rate should be pretty stable, and it works out well for everybody.
All right, Jay Olson, you heard him before here on Houston Real Estate Radio. He's back today talking with us. He's the owner of Jay Olson Insurance Agency with Goosehead Insurance. And how can people get in touch with you? Do you want them to give you a call if they need a quote?
Yeah, best bet is to call us, 281-402-8175. And anyone on my staff or me, we're happy to help.
All right, 281-402-8175. And as always, all of our sponsors of the Houston Real Estate Radio Show, you can find them online at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. And if you missed any of today's show and you want to catch up with us online, you can see the videos as well in beautiful HD. And you can like us on Facebook at the Houston Real Estate Radio Facebook page over on Facebook. So we appreciate you listening to the show today. We'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio.